We're going to start out after the initial events of KCD2. I'm not convinced you guys are going to need me to take you through that. If you do like really want me to go through tutorial zone, I could obviously add that to the beginning of the playlist. Let me know if that's something like you're desperate for. But obviously we've just been let out of the stocks. We've had our falling out with Sohans. We are basically left with almost nothing. Now you can see right now we're starting out in the inventory screen because we want to get the Saviour Schnapps learnt. We're going to make a few of those right now. We're actually going to go ahead, we're going to make quite a few of the chamomile decoctions as well. This is actually a way that we can make quite a bit of money for ourselves early on just to get ourselves set up. Additionally, I'm going to suggest a few perks. It's up to you whether or not you want to use your perks this early. Obviously, you get given 14, and I do like to use mine as and when I feel like I need something. A fairly obvious one for me early on, and I know it doesn't sound like a lot, is going to be Working Lad, just because I want those extra 8 pounds of carry space. That is going to be useful. And then to start with, I'm going to be concentrating on the alchemy and survival skills. If you didn't play the previous KCD, there is an overpowered perk down here called Leg Day. We can make it so that picking up flowers is going to increase our strength stat, which obviously means we can carry more stuff and we will do more damage in combat. So we want to be unlocking this as early as possible, and all we have to do for this is pick flowers. We can hunt creatures too, because this is the survival stat, and it'll tell you on here that we gain survival experience from hunting game, gathering herbs, and processing your catch. So drying and smoking also counts for this. Bear that in mind when you are picking your flowers. Before we get into that though, we need to go and talk to this lady here. We don't want to lose her. She should stay around town until you do speak to her, but she's going to give us lots of quest pointers to get through all of the dialogue. If you're not interested, obviously feel free to skip through it, but we 100% want to be getting through all of this. Once you've gone through all the dialogue, feel free to pick whichever options you want. If you do listen to it, you should find that you've been given quite a few tips as to where to find some things. You're going to have some markers on the map now. We're going to follow a couple of them, but to start with, we're actually not going to, because we actually want to head just a little bit south. We're going to follow this road out. But before we set off, as I was saying before, we want to do a bit of alchemy. So we're going to head to the southwest, and that's going to take us to the alchemy shop. Okay, so we have an apothecary right over here. We're going to get this added to our map by getting close to it. And there's a lot that we can do here if we want to. So if we walk on in, we're going to find that we have a recipe book for the Artemisia potion. This is a alchemy bench that we can now use. We're going to go ahead and take the potions right next to it. It doesn't even count as stealing in here. And we have the drying rack. So we're going to double dip on XP gains here. If we just come on out, we're going to find that we have a load of sage and a load of chamomile that we can pick up. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do that right now. And just clearing a little bit of garden is going to give us quite a bit of materials, as you can see. In addition to that, we want just a few nettles. Just one group of nettles should be enough for now. And then we're also going to head on across the road. We're going to come between these two buildings. So I guess that's the old tavern and the trader shop. We're going to come on up here, and between these two shops, we should find one belladonna here and then one next to the wall, which is going to allow us to create a save potion. So that means if you've forgotten to pick up any of the Saviour Schnapps that we get given along the way through the tutorial, we are going to be able to make one now so that we don't lose any of the progress that we make in a second. There is more chamomile hanging around, and you can go around the fields picking up even more flowers. But first, before we do that, I want to show you guys how we can preserve it all. So we're going to come on in here. We're going to go to the food item, and you should do this before processing it anyway for right now, because we're just going to get more experience this way. So we're going to get the chamomile in here, and then we're going to dry it all. And that's just going to give us extra survival XP, which has actually gotten us to survival 8, which is good, as that now means that we can take the flower power perk. In case you don't see this one before, this is going to give us extra charisma, so therefore making persuasion checks easier, so long as we have 30 fresh or dried herbs, which means out of the herbs that we just got, we can keep any 30 of them. That's going to give us a bonus to charisma, making it easier for us to get some of the speech checks done. And in addition to that, we're now going to find that our ingredients are not deteriorating. So they're not the best ingredients. If you want to get the high quality potions later on, this is not going to be good for you, but it does mean that we don't have to worry about them running out. First things first, let's probably get the Saviour Schnapps done, which still looks very similar to the first one. So we need to have belladonna and we need to have nettle. Okay. We can add the wine to the cauldron. We should put 2 handfuls of belladonna into the mortar ready. So we should get this, put that in, get this, put that in. Because if you read the instructions, we need to boil 1 nettle for 2 turns, and then we need to add in the belladonna for the 3rd turn. We put the dried nettle in here, like that. And then, what we need to do is we need to lower this down. Let that start bubbling. Then we can turn the glass. Now we need to wait for 2 turns. So we can see the sand has gone down. Let's turn that over. We're going to get some pumps going on. Now we want to grind up the belladonna and get that in. Turn the glass. And then continue to pump the bellows until that's done. Alright, looks like we're good. Let's pull the cauldron up, grab the file, and decant it out. 2 Saviour Schnapps, so we are now able to create 2 checkpoints for ourselves as we're going around. What I'm going to suggest that we do now is that we process all of the sage and chamomile into potions so that we can get them sold. For those that want a refresher when it comes to making the chamomile decoction, then let's start with adding the wine. I'm going to take you guys through this step by step. And then we can put our ingredients onto the shelf. Obviously, this is going to be chamomile and sage. We're then going to add the 2 chamomile to the cauldron. And then what I like to do is lower the cauldron down so that starts cooking. Whilst that's happening, we're going to grab the sage. We're going to put that into the mortar. I then like to give it 1 pump so that it starts boiling. Turn the sand glass over. And then at least 3 more pumps before the sand glass empties out. Once the sand glass is emptied out, give it a second and then raise the cauldron up. Now we can go ahead, use the mortar and pestle, and add it to the cauldron. At this point the potion's done, so I can pick up the file and pour it out. And there we have it. So we're going to keep on just powering through all of the ingredients here until we've got plenty of potions to sell. Once you've been doing this for a short while, you should find that your alchemy starts leveling up. Mine has just reached 8, and this is going to be a good time to get the Secret of Matter. This is going to make it so that now each time we brew, we get an extra potion. This is going to be important because we do want to be making money out of what we're doing, and that is the plan here, which means that we're also going to want to be taking the potion seller perk. And in addition to that, once we reach level 8 in speech, we're going to be taking the Adept of the Mystic Arts as well, but obviously we can't do that right now. In any case, I'm going to continue using up all of my ingredients here until we got a lot of potions. So it didn't take very long for my alchemy skill to hit level 14, which brings us to a choice here. So we can either make it so that we get lots of potions made for each pass, or we can make it so that they're a bit easier, so you'll get less weak ones. To get the best potions, you have to be precise anyway. I am going to be choosing to take extra potions so that when we get that right, we'll actually get more of the best potions more often, and that's what I want to do. We are going to have an inventory full of potions. I'm sorry, I do have a few extra Saviour Schnapps. I just felt the need to make a how to make Saviour Schnapps video, so I went half and did that. But it's only a few extra, and if you guys want to get extra, you can just go ahead and click on that video. But you can see we have lots of chamomile stuff, and what are we going to do with it? Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do with it. We're going to go ahead and we're going to sell it, and then you're going to be faced with a decision to make. This guy here, he's going to buy all of those potions off of us. He's not going to give us a ton, but we can definitely get a head start out of this. So we're going to go over to the sell page, and then we're going to go ahead, we're going to sell all of these chamomile brews. I just personally don't like them. I don't use them for anything. Extra healing while sleeping. Well, if I'm sleeping, I'm in a safe place. So unless I'm for some reason in a rush to get the healing done, we should be completely fine to just go ahead and sell all of this. We don't need it. I should have haggled there. That's my fault. But even without haggling, we are now cooking with 298 groschen. Right now, we have a decision to make because this guy also sells the Marigold decoction recipe. This is the actual healing potion of the game. If you want that right now, which I think I'm going to go for, I'm going to try and lower it a little bit. Let's see if we can take 5% off. What's that? It's going to be 5 groschen. Let's see if we can do it. I'll take 5 off. Go on. Hey, we'll do that. Making Marigold potions is also very easy, and all of the ingredients are here. What we need is marigolds, sick, which as you can see are these orange colored flowers. You'll find them all over the place. So we've got a garden full here, we've got a garden full over there, and there's probably even some over the fences down to the south. Plenty of marigolds and nettles, which we should already have access to. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to pick a load more flowers. But just in case you do need a place to get some nettles, all we need to do is head on out the gate and go around the back end of this building here. We'll find plenty of nettles all over the place. Now they have our ingredients, just so that I've been as itemized as possible. We're going to go ahead, we're going to read our recipe book, which is rather nice. You can see that the marigold requires 1 nettle to every 2 marigold, much like the Saviour Schnapps. I'm going to edit in the best way to make the marigold potion, even if it is slightly different how we did it in the beginner's guide. I feel like this will be much more useful to you guys than when I was first doing it. And the way this is going to work is we need to add water to the cauldron first. So we look left. Now, of course, I'm going to go slowly whilst we can. Once it starts cooking, I can't really slow down though. Have a look at the page if you want to know the steps that I'm going to be doing, just so that you're aware of that. So we're going to add in our fresh nettle and my dried marigolds here. And this is the magic. If you use 2 dried, it'll come out as strong. If you do what I'm doing right now at my level, then it's going to come out as Henry. First things first, we want to add the nettle to the water. Now, as soon as we drop this down, I can't slow down, but I will try and say what I'm doing as we're doing it. So we're going to lower this down. We're going to pump it once so that the boiling has already started. Turn the sand glass. And whilst that's boiling, we want to get the marigold into the mortar. We don't really want to be slow about this, so you do need to get some practice in. And then we can turn the hourglass, pump it once more. At this point, we're now just waiting for the hourglass to run down, and then we can lift it up. That's done. We want to get that as soon as that has run out of time. Add the marigold in. And then we can pour it in. And as you can see, we get Henry's Marigold decoction. Make as many more potions as you like. I'm going to quickly move on for now. I'll probably grind load this out in a bit because we're going to do a bit of a loop. But we want to hop on across to the trader here because he's going to give us some things that are quite important early on. Make sure you get all through all of his dialogue. You want to do as much speaking as possible. Then we want to be purchasing the belt and the Wanderer's pouch. This is going to be rather useful for us. We should have enough to make this a thing, so we're going to go ahead and get those purchased. We should try to haggle as always, even just a little bit is always better. And now we can start getting things equipped. So let's get into armor here. Let's get our pouches on. And this is going to mean that now we can put our Marigold potion into the healing slot. And when we get more weapons later on, we will be able to have multiple weapon slots so that we're able to switch between ranged and melee. So we now have a way that we can slowly creep up on making our stats improve, gain some money and all this other good stuff. We're actually be gaining reputation, everything else, which is rather nice. But we need a horse. The way that we're going to go is down to the southwest, right here, just down that way. I don't want to place like a real marker. We're just going to sprint our way down there. Now, once we have the horse, there's an argument to be made as to whether or not you do or don't want to use it, because as you're sprinting around, I don't know exactly what the distances are. You should find that your vitality is rising. And as we've already spoken about, if you wanted to be increasing your strength, you could be picking up a load of flowers. And we can already see that we have Marigold here. We have even more nettles on the sides. That's more healing potions we could be making. So you can very easily be making money, increasing your strength, and pretty much any other stat that you want to be doing right now. It'll take a few minutes, but a quick run down the road then, and eventually you're going to hit Semine. This is where we're going to get our horse from. Pretty important. And as you can see, as you're heading in, we've got quite a few buildings we can look at, but we still don't really want to get into any trouble right now. We still don't have a free saviour point, and you know, Saviour Schnapps is not exactly abundant right now. But we're going to come on over. You can see we're heading over to, what's that? That's the southeast. And we need to identify this guy, and we need to identify this horse is our Pebbles. Henry should say, there we go. Could take a second. Once he's recognized that that's Pebbles, we can now talk to Balate. It's a good idea to take a save right now. And then we're going to go ahead and talk about Pebbles. And we're going to say, be reasonable. Obviously, go ahead and get through the speech stuff as well, because this is actually going to help you to raise your speech skill in general. And then be reasonable. And voila, success. I've actually not had that fail yet. Take a save just in case, but for me, so far, that has been perfect. And he's even polite enough to give us the stuff that goes on the horse. So we're going to press square, put that on the horse, go over to the horse tab and equip those. And now that we had our steed, we want to start heading back towards the north. There's plenty to do around here, but we still don't have a proper place to sleep. There is like an outhouse where you can get away with it in Troskowitz, but no, we want to head to the north. In fact, you see this B? That is one of the 2 places that we want to go. First one is in this mist right here. And we actually want to purchase a room there. It's 120 groschen. So if you haven't made enough potions and you don't have 120 groschen yet, go on back to Troskowitz where we can do some more crafting until you have 120 groschen, because that's where we're going to be going. If whilst doing all of your brewing goes to nighttime and you want to make it daytime, a good thing to do that isn't just waiting, so is therefore a little bit better for your character, is to come out to the north here. All the way through the barns, and we'll see this little outhouse thing. No one seems to bother with it, so we're just going to go ahead and we're going to sleep until it's morning. Of course, you're going to be hungry at this stage, so you're going to have to weigh up how often you want to be doing this right now, because we don't have access to any free food or anything. We would have to use some of our funds that we're creating to start getting food. You can obviously steal it, and if you happen to come across like a pot or something where you can eat out of it without getting caught, that's obviously a good option. But we don't need to worry about it too much. We are going to get access to some food momentarily. I'm just going to go ahead and sell my next batch of potions. Now that I've topped my funds up a little bit higher, we're going to go ahead, we're going to purchase a bedroom, and then we're going to get one for free. Along the way, we're also going to get a load of arrows, a bow, and then once we reach the free room, which I'm actually going to get after the one that we paid for, it's just nice to have options. We're going to get a load of free armor, but it does come with a caveat because we're going to steal it. You guys can play honest if you want, but that is not a rule for me. Now, you could use a horse, and that is going to be faster. We're going to be heading directly west of Troskowitz, so if we bring the map up here, it should be pretty much straight over to the west. I've got a blank there. Pretty sure it's those buildings. If not, then I'll just obviously show you guys once I've unveiled the map of this character. We're going to be heading straight on out there. As we're going out and we're not mounted, we can either just sprint or we could choose to do some jumping as well. And this is going to increase our vitality. Very important to get that vitality up. So I'm going to argue right now that actually, even if it is a little bit slower to get to where we're going, getting that vitality up is a significant advantage, especially early on when your stamina is a problem. All right then, so I've arrived. I was only slightly off. I think it is still classed as the same place, but we're up here at the inn. So I was saying straight west from Troskowitz and down a little bit, but it was actually just up very slightly. And this is where we can find lodgings. So wherever you see this tankard type symbol with the leaves around it, that means we're near lodgings. Now I do need food, so 100% I've got to get on with this. I'm going to find the inn, speak to innkeeper Lawrence, and we are going to room and board. It's pretty much always worth it to do I want to stay longer, because then we can pay 120 and now it's always ours. Obviously I'm going to buy a little bit of food here, and now we have access to the pot, so we can go ahead and eat from there, and then we can head on up the stairs where we'll find our room through the open door. This means that we are now able to freely save without using items, and we can in fact go ahead and start storing stuff if there are things that we don't feel like we need to have on us. We're going to go ahead and take a save this stage. Depending on your time, obviously you can either try and make it morning or not, it doesn't really matter. And that is our first little base of operations that we can now use. But we definitely want to have two. If we start causing trouble in one of the towns, you always want to have an inn that you can kind of go off to and not be in trouble with. If we go stealing stuff from this area, get seen, we need to disappear for a few days, we want to have a second bed. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to get that now as well. Along the way, there are some goodies we want to get. So right now, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get a bow. So let's just bear that in mind as we continue making progress. We want to start out by going back the way we came towards these rocks right here. But at least now we can see where we're going, so I can place the marker a little bit easier. And you'll know you've hit the right spot when you see this tree with white paint on it. I thought I just heard something. That's not good. We've got some wolves to fight. I would prefer not to fight you. From the tree, we need to get on top of the cliff. We'll find a camp right here. We're going to loot these arrows. There's a couple on the floor, which aren't really the be-all and end-all of what you can collect. In the sack, we're going to find some hunting arrows, some leather gloves, and some other niceties that we can do with. So if you need to eat at this point, we just got some extra food. We additionally now have a little bit of extra protection for our hands with the gloves. And we can now follow this path back out of the forest. If you couldn't find the white tree, because obviously I just left a marker towards the cliff there, you can use this path to actually find your way back in if you need to. But at this stage, we're just heading until we hit the road, and then we can start turning to the north. There's the road I'm looking for. Let's start heading up. Once we're on the road, we can literally just follow this to the next settlement. So we're going to head all the way to the north until we get to a place called Tachozc. Now, along the way, you're going to find this little path on the right-hand side. Let me just show you this on the map. You can see we have this little splodge of green right here. And we're going to follow this path inside, where we're going to find somebody who's been practicing archery and left us their bow, which is rather nice. Go ahead and loot the bag behind for some additional goodies, and you can even take the arrows out of the target. Being as we got the belt earlier, that's going to mean that we can now put the bow into the secondary slot, as well as some arrows, and we're now able to switch between them nice and quickly in combat. From here, we're going to continue heading north because we want to reach the settlement that we were talking about earlier, taking the left at the fork. And as we enter Tachozc, we're going to see that we have even more plants. So if you want to start using some marigold, some chamomile, some sage to make even more potions, you can go ahead and do that. But more importantly right now, we want to speak to the blacksmith. Now, we want to do that before we start getting into any trouble. So we're going to find our way over here where we have blacksmith Radovan, who we need to start being nice to. So we'll get through all of his dialogue. And this is going to begin what is the game's basic tutorial on blacksmithing. So let's go ahead and grab the loot out of the chest, and then we can start blacksmithing. I'm going to start a hunting sword, and then you can see that we need to move the sword around in the heat. Get nice and hot. Alright, so it's faster if we do this properly, but you can just hit one piece and expect to get through this. So you want to pull the hammer all the way back and then move it along. That's going to be your very first sword crafted. Get on through all of the dialogue. We know we need to keep on leveling up our speech. And then all you need to do is ask where you can sleep. And now we have ourselves a free bed. It's just around the corner. We can come on in here. And you'll realize, I don't know if you played the previous game or not, but now this chest and the one from the previous place that we have are linked. And so now we can start passing items around and just in general having a good old time. The best thing about this place is we now have some blacksmith tools that we can use to repair any armor we get. We will need to renew these. They run out after a while, but it just means that we have some goodies that we didn't have before. So at this point, what we should do is make ourselves a save. That now gives us access to 2 sleeping areas, multiple towns, and plenty of places to fast travel to start power leveling ourselves up. We're able to make good money, and we are now in the process of leveling up things like strength and alchemy. Next up, we're going to be looking at getting ourselves some good gear, probably leveling up stealth, and in general being a nuisance. So hopefully you guys will join me for that. We're going to make it 7 a.m. This is where the village is going to start getting all active. Make sure that your noise is very low. You do not want to be any higher than 12. I think this is probably the limit, especially whilst our stealth is low. We're going to sort that out very soon though as we go through this video. Obviously, if you need to pause to catch up with anything, feel free to do that. But for now, the first thing that we want to do is we want to head on into the blacksmith's hut. This is one of a few places where we'll just get a free meal, and this is going to save us having to eat as we're going around. Make sure you're quite full. We want to last a while. Yes, this slows us down a little bit right now, but it's going to be worth it as we go through the rest of the video. We're not actually going to be in this village for very long though, and I guess we could probably start the next part of the quest now. There's not really any harm in doing so, so let's go ahead and talk to Radovan, and we want to do the interesting job. We're going to get through the rest of the dialogue here as well because we want speech to continue rising, and then we can get on to tell me about the more interesting job, and then we'll get to it. This is actually going to send us to Semine, which is where we're going to pick up the next part of the quest that gets us into the wedding. The cool thing about this is we can actually switch around which piece that we want to do at each given time, and because the way some of those quests work, that's very handy for us. Now, whilst we are in this town, there's a couple of things that I want us to take care of. First up, we are going to go to the back end of this tavern. Now, the less people see us doing that, the better, as if they see us heading into somewhere where there's going to be a crime, they're going to snitch on us, and we're about to commit one of the most heinous crimes. We want this ladder right here. We're going to head on up now, and this is why we need it to be so quiet, because this is actually very dangerous. If you want to give yourself a save at this point with a save save your Schnapps just in case it does go wrong. It's not the worst idea in the world, so we'll get that done. And now, you don't want to be at this fast stealth, we want to be at slow stealth. We got the lowest stealth in the game right now, and if he hears me, the jig is up. It's going to go to pot. We want to knock this guy out as quickly as possible. We're really not capable of much else, so we want to get that done. We're going to go ahead, we're going to rob him. He happens to have a key, and that's going to start unlocking things all over the place. We want to get through here very quickly. We don't want anybody walking up those stairs and seeing us up here. Nobody needs to know that we have just looted what is effectively this villager's guardhouse. Once you've got all of the chests in the main area, we're going to head back through. There is another one on the way out. I don't believe there's too much in the way of important loot anywhere else. Now, you might be tempted to kill him or something like this, but just be aware that is going to be extra loud. So we want to keep things as quiet as possible. There's no additional chest down there, so we don't need to go down there. And we're going to come on out the back end of the barn again. We're now going to head on up the hill. I always find it's a good idea to just check. Sometimes there's an NPC in here. Taking things down in stealth mode is a very good way of just getting ourselves some extra stealth XP. But that is, as you can see, everything that we get out of the tavern, and that is the best loot that we can get here. There's still a little bit more for us to do though, so we want to go on out on the eastern side so that, as we say, a lot of people then won't see us. We need as few people as possible to be in a position where they can go, oh, I saw that guy going over that way. He must have done it. Because that is how the game works. It's actually fairly smart in that regard. I really like it because it makes doing things a little bit more challenging. It just means you have to think about things slightly. But now we're going to come past where our bedroom is, and we're going to head on up this ladder. This is actually fairly well hidden, and it's actually got some very unique, not unique loot, but loot that we don't have right now and is very important. We're going to go ahead and grab a die. This isn't a very good die. The more important thing on here is the dagger. This now means if you grab someone from behind, you should be able to kill them if you wish to, but we need to have it equipped and we don't have enough pouches for that. But more importantly, we get 2 lockpicks. Now, we got given one a long time ago in the previous town, but now we have 3 lockpicks, and that means we actually stand a decent chance at actually picking a few locks if that's what we want to be doing. So at this point then, what I recommend that we do is we head to our room, we drop off all of the stolen stuff, because if anything goes wrong, we can always just pay off the guard and not lose any of the stuff that we've been given. I'm going to go ahead and just get rid of all of the stolen stuff into my chest. If we leave it there for a few days, eventually it won't even be registered as stolen anymore, and we can do whatever we want with it. Because we're still in such a vulnerable state, it's a good idea for us to just have as much looting space as possible so that we can continue moving forward nice and smoothly. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wait until nighttime and then going to take a quick sleep so that we've saved, and then because it's night there'll be less people around, and I'm going to use those lockpicks to just start getting our lockpicking skill up. Don't bother trying to pick a medium lock yet. You just aim for very easies. Even easies are going to be hard and annoying at this stage of the game, and it's actually going to be loud as well. Now, I still haven't even picked a torch up, so I guess I'm going to have to use the stolen one. But as you can see, nobody's reported me right now because nobody saw me going into that building. So we should be all good at this point. Whilst we're not doing anything naughty, having the torch out is not really an issue. There's only really one place that we can even go to just get ourselves a little bit of XP, and that's this door right here. If anybody's walking around, just wait an hour because we need to be fairly confident that someone's not just going to walk around the corner on us. You know, if we get seen, I guess we can run away, but ideally it's just not what we want. So we're going to turn the torch off. We're going to start just trying to get some of these lockpicks done. Usually on a very easy, they're right out at the edge. So just find where the sweet spot is that we're supposed to be using, and then we can start having it move around. Realistically, we're not even bothered about stealing anything. We just want to get to some locks. Okay, so we're going to go in. That one's not locked, so we don't care. That one is locked. The good thing is, because we're close to NPCs while we're doing this, we'll also be gaining a bit of stealth XP as well, which obviously is going to go very nicely for us. It's 2 locks picked. Very nice. Make sure we close doors, otherwise it's going to attract guards to where we are. We don't even have any perks right now, so nothing's keeping us any quieter than usual. Nothing's making this faster. There are some really nice ones for chain locking. We just gotta start out in a humble position. We could go ahead, knock this guy out. This would be some nice extra stealth XP. Just heard a noise. What was it? Okay, nothing happened. That's good. All right, we're gonna go ahead, take your key, a little bit of groschen, I'm going to unlock this because it was a medium. For now, I'm just going to take everything because I want as much stuff as I can get right now. Again, nobody has seen me. We need to have nobody see us at all if we can help it at this point. So we're going to come out and we're going to start heading towards the west. Say goodbye to the village for a bit. You guys can go ahead, do anything else that you want to do there. What I actually want to do now is head towards Zhelejov. Now, technically, we're going to cheat a little bit because I know that we need something out of this building. You know, if you want to do things in the proper order, you can go ahead and you can skip this bit, but I know that we need something out of there, and there are a few good buildings over here with lots of very easy locks, so we're going to do some lock picking on the way down. We're probably not going to get that much in the way of loot. I'm going to attempt to fast travel, and we've managed it, which is very nice. Now, I believe we already purchased the room here in the last part of the video. If we want to, we should be able to make it daytime, but the time right now is 1 in the morning, which is actually perfect. At this stage, if we can get away with it, we should probably pop a Saviour Schnapps right in front of this door because it's open. The game actually knows we're supposed to come in here at some point, even though they're all asleep. So we open this door and we head on up the stairs, and we need to get into this chest right here, which is an easy. So try and get this done as quickly as we can. And this is actually the game's early stealth set. And then from here, if we wish to, we've only got one other person up here, so we can go ahead, knock this guy out, rob him, his key, bit of extra groschen. And then we can head on through into the other bedroom for some extra loot. With all the stuff from upstairs, we can head on down. And if you want to, you can even check into the other rooms, but it's going to be full of the bath girls, so we need to be careful. We've got another lock here we could open. Nothing there we need. Quick little bit of groschen in there. And now we can leave. Nobody saw us, so we're all good. We need to make sure nobody sees us at all now for the rest of the night. Otherwise, people are going to put 2 and 2 together and they're going to know that it's us. The next place we're going to go is to the main part of Zhelejov. This place is actually fairly lightly guarded, so we should be okay as we go on over there. We're just going to have to make our way over. We're not going to take too much, but there is going to be some more guard gear. Once we get over there, there's going to be another little kind of miniature guardhouse. And also, because of the stuff we've stolen, make sure you check that you've got all of the best stuff on that you need. Now, I am personally targeting sound over visibility. Some of the stuff that we got from the chest is considered the game's early stealth set, but I'm going to get something else before the end of the video anyway, so don't worry too much about that. All right, I'm just going to check, see if we can get any good perks on the go. We don't really have access to a good stealth one. Quietening down the lockpicks is pretty big, so we'll get that first. So for now, that's all staying as it is. And we've now made it to Zhelejov. Obviously, if you've got loads of Saviour Schnapps, you can make a save here, but we should be fine. Like I say, the guards here aren't exactly too dense. There's not loads of them. And we're only really here to just pick open some doors. There's not great loot here. I got into loads of trouble just having a look around for the sake of it. But we should find this one is the only one that has real loot in it. So we're going to go ahead, get in here first. Very easy lock, as you see. Make sure we close the door. As you see, we've got one guard. We need to be very careful, very quiet. Our stealth has risen 1 point, so we are improving, which is good, but still not exactly great. And here we have even more keys, so we can get into these medium locked chests. Again, make sure you lock the door behind you. So now that we've got the guard done, and he's not likely to wake up, we're just going to go around and unlock some doors. So I'm in the, let's go with northeast corner right now. We're just going to open this up. If there is someone we can knock out, we'll probably take that opportunity for the extra stealth XP. That's just a door to open. That's fine. From here, we're going to head across the courtyard. Again, just a few doors that we can open just to get this lockpicking rolling. And you'll find once you've got it rolling, that's the main battle. So we could be using the key to look around, but that's not really what we're here for. We're here for all these doors. Not one inside. See if we need any food though. There we go. We're going to take some free food. Goldilocks has been today. Should get us fed up mostly. Yep, there we go. Night night, people. Night night. Thank you for the grub. Can't remember if this one's all right up here. We'll check this one. Yeah, we've got another very easy. We'll get that done. Now, if you're ever in a room with multiple like this, you don't really want to mess around with stuff. So we're just going to leave them. Although we do have the key, we probably could get away with looting stuff, but I'm going to err on the side of caution. We've done this western part, so now we're going to move over and start doing these eastern parts of the buildings here. Again, we need to make sure we don't get in the eyesight of any guards. They're pretty obvious because you can see the big glow of the torches. Don't bother with the tower. That is just false doors. So we're just going to get on over to here. Now I think this one is like multiple doors, so this should be a good bit of fun. Thievery 7. We have improvements. Now need to be as quiet as possible in here because there are quite a few NPCs. Man, look at the difference, right? That 1 point made a huge difference. We're not going to bother with a medium. If we see someone vulnerable, we are going to knock them out for that. Why not? But the very easies fall before us now. All right, let's go ahead and take the key. Bit of stealth XP. I'm sorry, lady. I don't mean to do that in the middle of the night. You don't deserve it, I know. But we're so poor. There's not much choice. Get in there. More loot. Ideally, before we set off to the next town, we would want to be overburdened. Oh, we can make that happen. 100%. But it's only really worth it if we can get really overburdened. So next up then, we're going to come down to this building. You can still sprint for now, so let's just be careful. Some herbs over there. Didn't even notice that was a herb garden. All right, people are starting to wake up, so we are going to skip over this. There's no point in us getting caught over a few doors. There's a guard over that way. We don't want to be seen at all, ideally. So we're going to avoid all of that. I was thinking about getting a stealth knockout on her, but the guard will see. All right, so that's enough. Now it's a shame because that house right there is another nest of like 1 in, and then there's 4 doors in there. So that would be quite a good amount of thievery XP. It's not a huge issue because we're going to get tons anyway. Now we're going to skip over main Semine. We want to level up our ability to start stealing things before we start going around in Semine. There is a merchant's house. This one has a hard lock in it. So that's probably going to be the last one that we try and steal from. We are going to get sent over to Troskowitz very soon though. And as a part of that, we're going to get a ton of loot. But when I mean a ton, I mean like we're going to have a night where we're going to make 3 or 4 manual trips over to where we just came from in Zhelejov. We're going to be walking. We're going to have to walk from Troskowitz to Zhelejov with a big load that's going to power us up with strength and vitality. Because we're going to be doing a lot of sneaking, we're going to get some agility out of it. It's going to be very, very powerful for us and just make us very well off. But for now, we need to keep on heading south. You see the Red Sea? That's exactly where we want to go. Probably should get a torch out so we can see now. And this is weirdly enough an advantage to be going through the forest. As long as we don't get attacked by wolves, we'll be fine. Along the actual road to there from the main town, there's almost always some bandits. And in our current state, we don't really want to be fighting those. We can try and leave those alone as much as possible. We have made it to the miller's area. So we just need to wait until he starts waking up. And he's going to give us a bed here. This is going to be very similar to the blacksmith. Let's just go ahead, make sure we've got some food in us right now, but we will get fed once we've gotten through the conversation with him and we'll have the opportunity to sleep. So we just need to talk to this guy right here. We're going to go through all of his dialogue and we're going to have to agree to carry some sacks. To get the sacks, we go into the barn, grab the sack right here. Now, you can get excited about this one. This actually has, look at all this, and they're not even stealing. You know why? We're going to get given them in a minute. We'll have them all now. Grab the flour. We're going to take that out. It's going to complain, but we're just going to keep on doing that now until we get a cutscene. Once that's done, we get into another set of dialogue. And now we're obviously going to say, yes, we're ready for the next stage of his work. And we're definitely going to help him. And then we're going to ask through everything that he's saying here. Before we do anything else, let's make sure we talk to the miller again. Because we want to have where should we sleep. And we want some advice. More questions about thievery. And now we can continually practice to pick locks on this chest. Okay, so we can come over here. We can pick our way in. We're going to get some extra lockpicks. And then when it closes, it's ready again. After a while, it'll stop locking. But we've reached level 8, and that is better than not reaching anything. But we're going to go ahead. We're going to take Toolmaster so that our lockpicks last longer, so they don't break as much, which is rather vital. And then we're going to go ahead and go on up this ladder here, which is just around the corner, so that we can pick this easy chest. A little bit of aggression, but the most important thing about that is we just got ourselves some XP. As for where we can sleep, we're going to go on up these stairs, inside, and then we need to go up the ladder. We can drop our stuff off in the chest. Again, making sure that we are keeping clothes that are dropping our visibility and noise. We've actually gone down from 12 to 11, which is rather nice. And now we have a choice. We can either decide we're going to attempt to get some extra lockpicking XP here, or we can go straight to Troskowitz. I advise getting at least a little bit more before we go. We are still looking incredibly low on our thievery skill at 8. And our stealth skill is, yay, almost at 7, but not quite where we want it to be. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to sleep until it's nighttime again. And then we can head down the ladder into the main bedroom for some food. And then we can disappear off into the night. It's going to be a good idea to just check on the chest, see if it's relocked for us. And now we're just going to follow the road into the other part of the town. So if you guys need to see this on the map, you can see we have a road that leads into town. That's where we're going to be going. Because we're in very low visibility and sound clothing, if we do see bandits, we're just going to sneak on by them. They'll pretty much not be able to see you even if you're right next to them. So we should be fairly safe right now, unless they've got big lights like that. So in this instance, you can see they're all over the road. Usually they're off to the side a little bit, but these ones, apparently they want to be in the way. We're going to move up to the left. So there we are. So you just back off a little bit and then you can get above them. And now they shouldn't even notice that we're here. Make sure you're actually sneaking when you're close to them. Ordinarily, if we're not into causing trouble like we are right now, you could just drag them into the town and the guards would deal with them. But right now, if we did that, the guards would know that we're around and they would put 2 and 2 together and be like, hey, you were around last night. You did all of the crime. And yes, for whatever reason, they will not be happy with you even if you're just picking locks. Even that is a crime to them, so we need to be fairly careful. So we have now made it. If you want guard stuff again, that is the building on the left. It is dangerous, but it is also doable. We'll probably give that a go after we've done this building. This building is the one that's just going to give us a bit of an extra boost to our thievery skill. So we're just going to drop into sneak, and you can see I'm in the courtyard-ish of this little building here that has all of the farm stuff. And we just want to start picking some locks. That is the plan right now. First one in the corner. I'm not going to do a medium. We'll leave that. This one done right here. Absolutely beautiful to have 14 lockpicks. At this point, you know what? It's probably a good idea for me to use the Saviour Schnapps when I think about it. We're just going to pick all of the locks that we see. We're not going to bother with that. We could start getting into pickpocketing. Right now, I just don't think that's a good idea. We will be doing it at some point. For now, we just need to get our thievery leveling up. As you can see, because we're doing this around people, we are getting the stealth skill up as well. This actually has loads of stuff in for the horse, but we are just not able to be dealing with that right now. We probably can get away with knocking you out. That's a very easy. We should take the XP from that. We could have used the key, but 100% want the XP from it. More than anything that was in it, actually. So that's the one building done. So we need to be careful right now about lights, you see. Because if he sees me in the morning, that guy's going to be like, hey, someone knocked me out. And he's going to say, oh, I saw a dude. So we'll call this the bonus chest, basically, right now. This is where the catch pole is. So if we get caught around here, it's like 1,000 minimum fine. But we're in Thievery 9. I want at least 10, realistically speaking. I can't remember how many people are in here, though. 2 people there. That's not going to work. Everything we do is really noisy. You hear the difference between this one and my stealth character now. And my actual leveled character now. Man, stop making noise. We've got 1 person here. We'll do this. I'm sorry, housemaid. I need that XP. You're pretty as well. I'm sorry. I am. Take that loot. Let's check above, see what it looks like. Now, always be careful when you come up somewhere like this, because you're not in stealth mode anymore. So if you take a step, everyone's going to wake up. And don't ever pick locks when you're close to the NPCs, because they'll hear it. Again, once we're off a ladder, drop into stealth. That was almost too perfect. Did not deserve it to go that well. I'm going to come out that the back. So I could pretty much get away from town right now, and they wouldn't even know anything happened. Or I should say, they wouldn't know it was me. Nobody saw me once, which is quite fantastic, actually. Just seeing if we've got any of this side facing doors on the way out that we can pick. It's a guard there, we don't want that. With our modest reward, we disappear into the night. It's time for us to head on back over to Troskowitz. I'm going to sprint on over that way. I've got my torch out, so I'm not in trouble. That's fine. This night is nearly finished. I'm going to go ahead, sort my character out a little bit. Let's just make sure we are not... Yeah, my character's not desperate for anything. Food is fine. We've got some food we can just eat, which is nice. And what I actually want to do, I want to have a sleep, and I want to see if anybody wakes up in the morning and thinks, oh, that was Joe that did that. Because we just had a right evening. There we are. We have no bounties right now because nobody saw a thing. Obviously, there's a lot more stuff going on in Troskowitz when it comes to loot that we can get. There are 2 main buildings that we want to get into. I've checked through all of them. There's a carpenter over this way. I thought it would be good because it has bows. It wasn't good. It's not that way. It's here. This is the carpenter. Alchemy dude isn't very good. The trader isn't very good. But this area here is very good if we can get away with everything. As is the tailor as well. The good thing is both of them are doable. The Rathouse is probably harder, so we'll do that first. And the tailor is actually fairly easy. It has a lot of high value stuff in there. So we're going to try and get both of them done before the end of this video. But before we start, what we're actually going to do, we're actually going to go ahead and we're going to visit the tailor, because there's actually some good stuff that we can get from the tailor that's going to help us stay less visible. So we're going to come on down, and as we're obviously passing through the street, we want to head through the gate here. I don't think there's much of a sign for it, but just so you can see where I am on the map. Tailor barter check, that's where we're going right now. We're going to head on in, talk to this boyo. I don't want to repair, we want to trade. What we want is anything that reduces our visibility and noise. Now, something this guy sells that is extremely good for this this, if we go far enough down, is the burger poi point. Can you see that? That's just taken us down to 10 noise and extremely low visibility, and it's going to cost us 15 gold. Might as well be free, especially with the amount of stuff that we're going to be getting out of it. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to take that. Just be aware that there is a kind of inversion of some stats, okay? So we need to go over the fact that because we are wearing stealthy gear, we are now more conspicuous, which means if the guard does see us, it's now more likely that it'll want to give us a search. So just bear that in mind. So if you're carrying stolen stuff, much like I am right now, they're going to be like, oh, hey, you look a bit suspicious. So we want to take a look at you. But now we are mega stealthy. Very few things are going to see us from a great distance, and our noise is dropped to very little, which is nice. So now that that's sorted, we want a fresh night, and we want to be well fed. And it would probably be good to have a bath as well, because our character probably smells bad, and smell is a way that they can detect you. Just bear that in mind. But right now, we want to make sure that we are well fed, and we are ready for another night of fun. Let's get it close to midnight. Make sure you've slept and fed. And now the Ghost of Deliverance is on the prowl. Plenty of locks for us to go ahead and start picking, so I guess we could do something like that. We'll take a Saviour Schnapps before we head into the first main building though. But for now, we're just going to get into this, because we still ideally need our Thievery to be leveling up. There is only one challenge we need to worry about, realistically. I'm going to head on upstairs, up the ladder, just keep on searching through. Got a poor lady here to victimize. Go ahead and take the key and the groschen. Too many people in there, you don't want to do 3. I'm going to go down the stairs. I don't know why I'm using the key. I should be picking locks, really. I'm not bothered about that. If you want extra stuff, obviously you could pick his pocket, but it's not really going to be viable for us in our current state. 2 people again. We're not doing with that. And it kills me how loud my character opens and closes doors right now. The stealth and thievery are close to an extra perk point though. Things are going to start getting fun soon. Let's get this very easy lock done. So this is the back end of the trader. You can get into there, but obviously it's very hard, so it's going to be much later on before we can start messing around with that. I haven't tested to see whether or not the money-making method of the first game is available or not, so we'll just have to wait and see about that. We don't really want to go onto the main street, so we're going to head on back out the way we came in. And ideally, we don't want it to be a guard. And the precise spot that we want to use is this one. Now, on this left-hand side, there's always a guard there. Now, you need to have pretty high strength to be able to mug him, which would be great. And you could try pickpocketing him, but also that is another thing that is extremely difficult. So instead, what we want to do is just come on in between here, and this is probably the best place to put your Saviour Schnapps, because it's where everything's going to start coming together. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to save game right now, and you need to decide if you want to do loot first or quest first. This place can be done in a couple of different ways, and there's a lot of loot to be gotten. First off, we want to come up the stairs. Now, for whatever reason, if we try knocking him out, I don't know if it's because they can hear it or if they just get like a sixth sense, but if we knock him out, a guard always comes up to check on him, and it always tries to wake him up, and then it fails, right? So instead, we want to try and rob him instead. We want to get this all the way up. If we can get a 10, that's what we want. Generally speaking, that it means we're going to be pretty good. We're going to come over to one of these question marks, steal whatever's there, and then come back out. We're going to have to do this a few times because we're after a key. The key was all the way at the bottom at that time. We probably didn't even have enough time to do it. You have to be aware that the reason it goes so slow and maybe feels a little bit sluggish, that's because our skill is so low. So just wait for a second. Hopefully we can get in. All right, we know where the key is. We've got it this time. All right, now that we've got the key, we can go ahead and we can loot this. Come on down the stairs. This bit you need to be careful of because there can be a guard that patrols around, and we don't want to get caught by the guard. Now, there is an absolute metric ton of loot that we have access to right now, and I don't even know which order I want to do it in. We can start with this one, and I know this one's popular, so maybe we'll do it because someone's going to be screaming at the screen. So we're going to head on in, and in this chest, there's a large amount of loot that we can take. That has already made me heavy, so this is a good time for us to get out of here unseen. So let's just get out. We're going to come on out this way, and we know we want to head towards the west. Okay, so we want to take a left once we get up here. So we're going to come out past the building that we used. And it's a good idea to place yourself a marker because we are going to be heading to our inn in Zhelejov. This is going to take a bit of time, a few minutes for each run, but it's worth it because whilst we are overburdened, we are actually gaining strength and vitality experience. So doing this and emptying the town of all of its loot is actually going to get us stat points as well as the stealth and the thievery of doing this. So consider this almost like a power leveling exercise. As you can see, there's the first vitality. And if you want to along the way, you could even pick some flowers for even more strength gain. It's going to be pretty uneventful, so I'm just going to hold forward as we go. So we're in for a fresh night. I made my journey there and back. 2 points in vitality and strength each is massive. And I'm obviously going to make my way back to the exact point that we were at before. So we're going to get on here. We're going to get to sneak mode. I've still got plenty of Saviour Schnapps left. It's very easy for us to make now, so I don't even feel bad about it. And we can start sneaking in again. Now we've got 2 ways we can do this next point. You can either go in from the front or from the back. I don't know why you're still awake, but I think it's probably best to go in from the front. Now the key should still be the same key. A good way to check is to see if this chest has been refilled. I really don't know why there's still so much activity. If it's been refilled, well, I guess we can see already. Look. So the key is still working, so that's what matters. I guess we have to make sure we wait till past midnight because there's a lot of movement happening here, and that's bothering me because we want to go in here. This is where the quest is, by the way. Now we could pick our way in, but there are a lot of guards in here. The best thing to do first is to come upstairs and get that chest, because that one has a lot of stuff in it. So we're going to grab that one first. And then we have the door. It's through this way. Now there are a lot of guards in here, so you definitely don't want to make any noise. So no lockpicking in here. Get that chest. We've got to come back through this room, so just bear that in mind. Head on down. This is the chest for the quest. Should have the document in somewhere. That's what we want.
The offer of Hermes Trismegistos. That's Krazel's document.
Now, you might be tempted to run out this way, okay? Now, if we come over here and look up, this is where we could have dropped down. That's where the dude's watching it on the corner. We 100% want to get into this door, though. So we're going to go ahead, open this. I'm going to pick this one because it's far enough away. And inside here, there is a skill book. It's hidden in the hay in the back. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to grab that. Now, I like to save my skill books until we're at level 22 on the skill, because there are usually 3 to 4 skill books and 3 to 4 trainers. That's going to allow you to get to 30, which is the cap. And obviously getting the skills leveled up, the higher they are, the more difficult it is. So I'd rather save it for that. So we have not been seen at all here, and we're just about over the weight, which is kind of annoying. So let's have a look. I don't want to do this one. Oh no, I've been seen.
Who could have done it?
Alright, so the best thing for me to do right now is going to be to drop something with low value that's going to take me under the weight, because we need to get out of here fast. And I'm probably going to end up with a bounty. But let's see if we can get away with it. And just wait here for the rabbit to stop looking. He's given up, which is good. I don't know how many people he's woken up, though. If I go up there and get seen by him, he's definitely going to put 2 and 2 together that we've robbed everything out of there. So let's try and sneak back out. That was some bad timing for me there. No, he didn't wake any of them up. That's good for me. There's no window. There was no way I could have known. That's the wrong way. I don't want to go this way. Alright, I'm going to get out. That was some bad luck right there. We got away with it. For the cost of a shackle. We'll take that. So he's gone up there now. So we're going to come around to this right-hand side. So good, though, that our visibility and noise is so low. That even with low stats, we did pretty well there. Who's that? Humans. Right, we're not going near there. Too many people. But we're going to make our way to the Tailor's area now. We want to get in there and we want to get as much stuff as possible because we want to get another nice big haul. So you can see the lock to the door there is hard. So it would be a pain in the ass for us to get in there. But instead, especially now that our thievery is up to 10, things are starting to come together for us now. I'm even going to get that perk in because every single one matters right now. Up to 10, we can have nimble fingers. Yeah, let's get ourselves some extra time when we're doing that. That sounds good to me. And we need to pick this boy's pocket. And then we have to pick it because he's next to his partner there. Very difficult, as you can see. Take that pretzel out so he's got one less thing in his pocket. Man, that could have been the key there. Nope, the key was miles away. But we'll take these gloves quick. Should really take a save. I'm playing really risky for very little gain. Oh man, I went the wrong way for the key. No. We might do it, we might do it. Yes, there we go. Like a ghost in the night. And now we can go through. Nothing in that one, I don't know why. But now we can head on out. Lock away into the main shop. We can start looting in here. I do like getting a cover for the horse, because why not? We want to be heavy anyway, so we're just going to take everything. I believe we're able to get away with getting so much out of this one because this building is quest related. Because we're supposed to come here for a dress later. Oh yeah, strength down already. Bam, look at that. So we just got to get out of here now. He's seen me. We're going to get grassed on now. Here comes a big whopping bounty. So the guards aren't going to chase me. What's going to happen is when I've dropped all this off and like sleep till the next day, he's going to have said, oh yeah, I saw that guy. Must have been him. And they're going to have a huge bounty out for me. It's okay. We'll go through getting rid of that. But it's fine, we've got it. So we're going to head out to the north so that we're just outside of the forest limits and then head on back over, drop all of this stuff off because we can't run from a guard right now and we can't ride a horse. By the time we get there, I'm going to have strength well over 10. Vitality is also on 10. You can see how this is really big benefit this early in the game. Same as before, we'll go ahead and we'll drop all this off. With Troskowitz all looted then, it's time for us to start looting this large building over this way. So we're going to start heading south. Now, I could just fast travel down there, but I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm going to visit Zhelejov again. I'm going to pick the exact same locks that we already picked last time so that we can hopefully get a little bit more thievery along the way. This is obviously going to be exactly the same as last time, so hopefully I don't really need to explain all of this to you all over again. Should be even easier though, as your skills are going to have risen, and with a little bit of luck and I guess with some Saviour Schnapps, we should now be in a decent position to start getting some of the mediums done at the very least. That's just going to make sure that we get some extra XP as we're going around all of these buildings. And we could even try a little bit of pickpocketing now that we've up to a decent stage. Just taking any item is going to be worth XP, so we can go ahead and practically farm it here as we continue our escapades. I'm of course going to continue just looting my way through these buildings all over again. And with a fresh inventory and a fresh evening, we can now make our way into Semine proper. I'm obviously down at the miller's area right now, just in case you want to see inventory. There's not a lot left in there. But we're ultimately going to be heading towards the castle at the back end of the town. Similarly to before then, I'm just going to be picking a few locks around here just to keep the lockpicking stats moving. Now you're going to notice that my sprint speed is starting to get faster and faster as that agility is rising, which is extremely useful for us. And just the same as we kind of did in our updated runs of the other areas, we're just going to be picking locks and pockets now to make sure that we're getting all of the goodies, which should be continuing to get easier as we make our way around. Go ahead and pick the other dude as well, who actually has 2 keys. We're going to get both of those, see if we can get all of his loot, because that'd be huge if we can. We did. Alright, let's go ahead, open his lock in here. Again, you don't want to pick a lock that's in the same room as anybody, because it is always too loud. Now, if we can get away with getting the loot in this room, that's going to be huge for us right now. I actually didn't realize we could get 2 keys off of him. That's very interesting. Which, yeah, means we can open this bad boy. Go ahead and take all that. It's all stolen for now, right? Which means we do need to be careful about wearing it. But there is a better pouch in there, which means we're now going to be able to have 2 potions equipped. Just a little bit more lockpicking experience as we're going through. Oh, look, we've got another pocket to pick. Let's go ahead and do you. So I'm just going to quickly nip back to the miller's mill. I'm going to drop all this stuff off. We'll go through some of it once we get there. There's an improved saddle for the horse. There's loads of stuff in there that's going to be great for us. Just taking a quick look then. A lot of what we just picked up is going to be in your armor. area. Here you can see we have the hunter's pouch, which gives us 2 slots for potions. It's stolen right now, and we don't really want that to become an issue for us. So we're just going to leave all of this kind of stuff in the chest for a while so that it all becomes not stolen. There are ways to speed this up. For now, I just want to have it all in there and wearing itself down. There's a normal saddle in here, which you can see is 1,000. That one adds like 100 weight to your horse. So once that is all sorted, and yes, the guards will search your horse whether it's with you or not, so just be careful. If you have that on your horse, they will take it off of it if it still counts as stolen. But that's going to be us all lightened up, and now we can head back up there to the castle proper so that we can get some really high grade loot. I've obviously emptied off my inventory again, and we are running back to Semine now. For this next part then, we need to be coming in through where the horse trader is on the southwestern side of the main compound that we're going to be heading towards. Now, we can't avoid triggering a cutscene, and we are going to have to participate in a fist fight as we go through. But before we go in, we want to come up these stairs, and I know it's dark, but it's not like I can walk around with the torch on, because otherwise these guys are going to see me, okay? But you can see over there's a chest. Further over there are some NPCs, and we want to get some pickpocketing on the go. We can be a little bit braver now with our movement while we're in stealth mode, because, you know, we actually have some stealth. I'm going to choose to basically take as many things as I can whilst we are pickpocketing now, because this is extra thievery XP every time that we do it. But the main target here is going to be the key. Make sure you get at least one of these, because this is going to make everything in the next part rather easy. I'll bother about that aggression. That key is going to open almost everything, as you can see as we're going around, so you can take whatever you want now. And we're almost getting too good at this. There's no such thing. Obviously, the game is going to get tougher as we continue moving forward. That's because the dude that has the key to it is going to be in the cutscene. We're not going to be able to get it until later. So if you guys want to come back for that specific chest, you can do that. But right now, we can't avoid coming out into the garden, which is going to trigger this fist fight, okay? I'm not convinced it matters whether or not you win or lose. But if, like me, you're a stubborn a-hole and you want to win, you've got 2 options. You can either enter into the defense counter-attack combo with him. Usually, you need to out-stamina him to get the hit in, because he'll just keep coming back with more. And usually once you get a hit in, that means you can get a second one in because he's out of stamina. Something else that I generally find good for combat, because I'm trying to talk and show stuff at the same time, I'm losing my rhythm, is to feint. So if you hold in an attack on one side and then quickly switch to the other and release, often you can catch your opponent off guard. This is particularly good if you go down, because it counts as a thrust or a kick, so usually it has a little bit better range on it. Now I need to get some stamina back here. So you can't just go swinging willy-nilly like you can in most other games. That's fine by me though. Something else you can try for, but it almost never works as a combo. If you go right, left, that is going to be a combo, and that will break through his guard. But if he gets any dodges or counterattacks off, it breaks the combo. So I don't tend to use things like that. There we go. Not too difficult of a fight. We're going to get through the dialogue. Radovan sent us, and then we'll say we'll do that. For whatever reason, this takes us into this room. This is the dude that is for the quest. If he is in here, skipping for an hour should see to it that he's no longer in the room with us. And now we are inside the compound. Everybody's asleep, and the people that would normally cause you a problem are stuck outside. So we can take anything that we want in here. So it's up to you if you want to fully empty everything, or if you want to be more selective. I'll leave that up to you guys. But the most important thing is we come out of this door, we go up the stairs, take a right turn. So we're coming along this corridor. That's technically the target room, but we can go ahead and come in here as well. Got an extra lock. You can pick or open it. I like to start picking stuff now because we really want to get that XP building on the thievery skill. I'm going to go ahead and take all those. And I just want to show that right now as well, we have 12 natural thievery, and we're actually going to be able to get a bonus. So once you get to we have 14 natural thievery. Once you get to 14, you can get this mischief artist, which adds an extra 3 on there, which makes all of your lock picking significantly easier, especially when you're stealing, because if you lock your way in, because if you pick your way into a room, that's going to mean that now you have increased lock picking stats. The cool thing about where we are right now is the key that we got earlier actually opens this chest, so we don't need to take too much risk. This noble sword is one of the things that we definitely want to make sure that we are grabbing. It's up to you if at this point you want to take a risk pickpocketing this guy. It's up to you if you want to take a risk pickpocketing this guy's wife. Obviously, we don't really want to fall out with people, but it's there as an option if you want it. Just going to give us that extra thievery XP, which is good. Once you've got whatever you want, we're going to go ahead and make sure the door is closed, just in case one of them opens their eyes, sees that it's open. We don't want them waking up. Then we can head upstairs. And then as we come on up, you'll see we have this dude that's sleeping and a chest next to him. We can also open for a load more loot. With that one looted, then we can head on back down the stairs all the way to the bottom. So down the next set as well. We can head on outside. If we look over the balcony here, we should see that there are guards down here. But I guess, yeah, they haven't patrolled our flux. Now guards are also not watching what they should be. If you're quiet, you can pick this lock, or you can use the key, but I want to keep on getting that Thievery XP building. Have another dude here. We also can't seem to pick his stuff, but we already have the key. So we're going to go ahead and rob everything in here. This guy has some rather nice looking clothes in his wardrobe, so we're going to take those as well. And now we can head on down the stairs. We're going to stand up, get a torch out, just so we don't look too suspicious as we come down. And I'm not certain if it lets us through here. I didn't try this. I guess it doesn't mind if we go into the kitchen. But most importantly, we're going to head straight through this gate here and turn left. Put the torch away, get into stealth. We're going to start at the back of the room because there's a lot of loot in here. So we're going to go up the stairs, pick this guy's pocket. This guy has a king's die. I don't know if it's got any special abilities or not. It just says a king doesn't need to cheat. So I guess it just looks nice. But we'll have it. We'll go ahead and have his key. It doesn't make any difference, but it's just nice to get the experience rolling in. We can't really pick locks in here, so we're just going to open this one. We're going to pick this guy's pocket. We'll do it again, just for the Thievery XP more than the loot. This chest on the way out. And now, as you can see, we're a little bit overburdened. So it's up to you if you want to continue getting loot whilst you're overburdened, because we need to make it to the other side over there. You could obviously choose to exit through the barn right now, but there is one more building that we can interact with, which is right here. If you are going to do it, I recommend taking a save. We don't want to lose everything we just did, because we do have significant loot on us right now. Go ahead and open this, which has just got me up to stealth 12, which is rather nice. Could open this lock for some more loot. I'm going to choose to open this one with a key, because there's a lot of enemies behind us. A lot of guards, should I say. I don't want to risk that. But we'll pick this one. Come on through the door. Then we can check on up the ladder. Make sure you're always in stealth mode after the ladder, because it does trick you sometimes. Come on across. Same thing as usual. We don't want to touch anybody. We can open this, grab some extra loot. Do some pickpocketing. Just for the Thievery XP. I just had an accident there. We need to... Somehow, she didn't actually notice. She's harder to pocket, apparently. But it's fine. I got lucky there. I'll admit it. Go back down the ladder. And now we can come downstairs to this room. Get into this chest. Again, we're going to get a bit of pickpocketing done. Now it's getting towards morning. It's almost 5 o'clock. We need to get out of here because people are going to start waking up soon. And we need to not get seen around here. So it's time for me to leave. I'm going to head out through the exact same way that we came in. There is no quickly, so we need to do that preemptively. Get on past the horses. By the time we are over the fence past the horses, there is no reason we should get seen or caught for anything. But we can't get seen by anybody because we have robbed stuff in the town. We've robbed stuff up there. So we don't want guards seeing us skulking around at night time. So as you can see, pretty much just followed the road at the bottom. And now we're just going to take this around the outside and get it all back to the chest that we have at the miller's. So of course, made it all the way back to the miller. We're going to go ahead, get the stuff dropped off, and we can marvel at the amount of amazing stuff that we've been blessed with at this point. Now, I'm going to choose to keep the noble sword on me because, as you can see, it has no health and we need to repair that. And we are actually going to want to have some decent gear for the next part of this quest. We're going to go through our inventory that we now have in the chest, and we're going to pick out some decent stuff that we can wear as we move on to the next part, because we are going to have to fight some wolves, and we have reached the point where, you know, it makes sense for us to have some separate suits available so that we are able to deal with stuff. Now, the good thing is, because we're going to be going the opposite way to Semine, we shouldn't get searched by any guards, so therefore we shouldn't be running any risk of losing any loot. Keep hold of the armorer's kits, because we might as well use those. When it comes to this stuff that we have here, we have a lot of things that we can pick from. My favorite helmet so far is the bell-shaped kettle hat, so we're going to go ahead, we're going to have one of those on. If you ever decide you just want to sort things by what's best, just come over to this muscle symbol right here, and that's going to sort that for you, and then we can just go on down and pick stuff out. Also remember, if you want to wear a metal hat, you are going to need something that goes underneath it. And when it comes to your chest, there are actually 3 layers. So you're going to want your armor layer. So in this case, I'm probably going to be going with the smooth cuirass here. You're going to have the chain layer and then the gambeson that goes over it. And then of course, we are going to want some nice pauldrons on and some gauntlets. I like to lighten out a little bit on this bit. I don't know why. It's just something that I like to do. And I would pick legs that give you good either charisma or low noise or something. This game has area-based damage, and most of the time you shouldn't be taking leg damage, so we are not going to have heavily armored legs. Our armor should come out something like this. So everything's pretty highly armored apart from the legs, just because I'm not too bothered about that in interest of saving some weight. And this is a good time where you should now realistically have your full set, where you can have a lot of the slots filled. Obviously we don't have everything yet, including the weapon slots. I'm obviously going to need to get a shield. There we go, looking pretty good. Gone red and green. It's a bit Christmassy, but it's fine. Probably should have maybe tried red and white. You can play around with the fashion if you want to. And the most pressing thing, other than having our second like stealth set up, is we need to get that sword repaired. Don't go into battle with it with only 9 health. That's just not going to go very well. However, what we can do is head on a little bit more to the south, and we'll find that we've got a sharpening wheel down here. It's actually very easy to use, so we're just going to go ahead and start on there. This is actually a very good stat farm that we have right now, because we can go ahead and we can start farming our maintenance skill or crafting skill with this. All we need to do is just run it along. If you see smoke, that means you're actually damaging the blade, so bring it back from there. And we just want to see the sparks coming out of it. There is a sweet spot. If you get a little bit further up, you can see the sparks go a different color. That means we're in the best spot. And as far as I can tell, we don't need to move it left to right. We just need to keep it in the actual spot where it's repairing. Keep on going until Henry says it's done. Or if it feels like it's been a while, just come on off and check. There we go, 98 will do. We're just going to get that finished. And you can of course do this with every weapon, and that is actually going to increase the value of every weapon that you repair. So you should 100% be taking advantage of that. Being as we have been picking up a lot of repair kits, it's a good time for us to start using those so that everything's in as good of a condition as we can get it in before we set off on the next part. At this point then, you are going to want to make sure you're as light as possible. There's not a huge amount of loot where we're going, but we are going to be picking a few bits up, and we don't really want to be overweight for that. So just make sure you're all lightened up and you're happy with your gear. Make sure you take a save before we go on to the next part, and it's time for us to set off. What I recommend you do is bring your cursor over this way, because this is the way we're going to be going. Set yourself a marker somewhere on this black cloud that I've got. You can kind of see that there's a road that comes down this way to something. There's a road that comes up here to something. All right, you can see they're all kind of converging in the same direction, and that's where we're going to be heading to. This is why I don't mind that we've got a few stolen bits on, because we're just going to come out of this road. We're not going to go near any towns, and this town is a little bit more of an outlaw town, so therefore we could just be wearing it whilst it's losing its stolen status, which is kind of cool. It's going to take a couple of days for that to happen, so we are going to need to make sure we spend some time wearing that off. Additionally, I also now have 2 sets. We have the stealth set and the running around set, and being in the running around set is going to mean we don't need to be afraid of too many things now. So if something starts a fight with me, we can probably take it on. Just bear in mind that is going to damage the stuff that you're wearing, so you know that is something you'll just have to weigh up yourself. We're just going to follow the road all the way up to this northwestern area, and we're going to continue following that road until we reach this pretty obvious looking land bridge right here, where we're going to go ahead and we're going to cross over. There is actually a dock here with some loot, so we might as well grab that whilst we're here. Let's go on over. There we go. We want the die, groschen, badge, why not? And then once we're ready, we can continue. And right now, I'm going to suggest that we head to the left. I think we should unlock the kind of town that there is along this road first. So we're going to do that. So we're just going to follow this little dirt track that we can see right here. If you want to see it on the map, you can see that it comes along this little kind of opening. This is going to lead us to the little nomad camp that we have. Now we have ourselves a new fast travel point, as well as NPCs and people that we can talk to if we wish to. Once we've made it to the nomad camp, then we're going to pass straight on through. We're just going to keep on passing all the way through. Technically, we could talk about this guy right now. This guy is an equivalent to the previous game's Captain Bernard. We can basically go in and have sword practice with him constantly. So now that you know where he is, you can keep on practicing with him, and you can get as much sword experience as you want. This is going to actually increase your strength and agility as well. But we want to get out the other end of here, because we need to make it to the Mutt quest. So now that we have the location of the sword trainer and the fast travel point for the nomad's camp, we're going to make our way up to the Mutt quest. Want to come across along the road here until there is a shortcut that takes us up the cliff. We don't want to get too close to Semine until all of our gear is no longer considered stolen. And you can see if you follow the path along, eventually you'll have this big boulder here. That's going to allow us to turn to the left. It's going to bring us out onto this road, and then we can just follow that around until we reach the position where it wants us to start searching for Mutt. This should be fairly familiar because this is actually where you did the escape segment early on in the game. So just go the exact same way that you went before. Obviously gonna head on under the log. We're gonna deal with the guy that's searching the corpse. Most enemies are gonna stand almost no chance, so we don't really need to be too worried. But just in case you want a good thing to do, if you just hold in and up attack, switch down and let go, we get a thrust off, and most people cannot hack that. I'm not having you come and stab me in the back, buddy. Don't know what your keys to, but we've got it now. Anything you want from there, it's all damaged anyway. Examine the animal. And that begins the Mutt quest. And now that we have the Mutt quest active, instead of running around the map everywhere where it tells you to go, we are going to take a shortcut. We're going to fast travel back to the Nomad's camp. We're going to head on out from where the fast travel point drops us off. Where the road starts veering out to the left through these rocks, we're going to turn to the right. We're going to keep on passing through the trees. Just keep on heading straight to the west. You'll know you're going the right way because there's a fallen tree. And we'll see that the ground starts to dip into like a bowl. This is going to give us a cutscene where we see the dog. Get your weapons out. Now, these are very annoying to fight, I have to say. The only real way we can get damage on them is by doing a deflect into a counterattack. But luckily for us, we've come in here with an overpowered weapon, so we should not have too much of an issue. What I recommend doing is just backing off, and you don't really want to call Mutt to do any moves just yet, because he's actually occupying quite a lot of the dogs right now, and there's just never a point in trying to attack first, because they almost always get priority in terms of the attacks, which is what makes them so annoying. So I very much recommend just keep on backing off. Each time one attacks, get in with a counterattack. Fuck you. And before we leave here, we actually want to go back to the wolf den because over there is going to be some loot for us. So we're going to walk on back around the cliff and into the cave. We've got a broadsword, we have Mendicuras, and then we can loot the pile here for some valuable items, and then we can head off. I'm going to choose to fast travel back to the Nomad camp, just because I want to show you guys training with Tomcat. So we're obviously going to head on back through the Nomad camp now, and I recommend not wearing anything that you don't want to get wrecked, because it is going to take damage when you are in the training with him. So I'm just going to switch to this, and then I'll just pay to have it repaired at the end, because it'll be cheap enough. Okay, go ahead and take a save. We've got a lot of progress now. We're pretty much at the end as well. But I just want to show you guys Mr. Tomcat here. So he's good with the sword. And now we have our training buddy. So it's a very easy combo. This is basically spam attack. I don't know why they added in basically what is a spam attack combo. Realistically, in most combats, you're not going to get this off, I'm afraid to say. So just follow his instructions. Top, right, left. All right, so we have that. Now, don't challenge him to a duel right now, because he is going to absolutely ruin you. But instead, if we talk to him again, we are now able to practice combat. So from now on, if you want to duel him, this is much like Captain Bernard. You need to do it when it's in the morning. It's not morning for me right now, so I can't go ahead and do it. But now you can just spend time hitting him with a wooden sword and gaining up all of your combat skills. And that brings us up to speed with the best possible start.